Today on BKTV News, we have a segment covering the 8th grade tours. We also have a story about stocks and information about the vaccine clinic that happened at the Civic Center this last month.
We will also be wrapping up with a look at the King Kong vs. Godzilla movie. All this coming up right here on BKTV News.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
Today is March 4th, 2021. Hello and welcome to BKTV News. I'm Jackson Umfleet.
I'm Maggie Killian and this is BKTV News Live.
Today we've got a nice lineup for you guys. Starting us off is Trent Gazinski and Colin Roth's story about the 8th grade tours.
The purpose of the 8th grade tours is to help our 8th graders transition into high school. So what we do is we bring them over to the high school for a full day of tours. They eat lunch and everything over here. The tours will help students to learn about our different programs and meet the teachers who run those programs. So that gives them an opportunity to figure out the electives that they might be interested in taking whenever they get to high school. We also want students to become familiar with the environment here, to learn the building a little bit. This year's tours are different because we all have to practice social distancing, so we do have the expectation that everyone is masked up, especially at those times that we can't distance ourselves. It really does take a huge team to pull this event off, so we are super excited to be welcoming our Farmington Middle School students as well as the 8th grade students from St. Joe and St. Paul, our local private schools. The preparation part of it, well, there's a lot of behind the scenes organization, and we rely heavily on teachers and students who are in specific programs to present to the 8th graders, letting them know like what those programs consist of, different events and things that they do within those programs. And you know, I think the nice thing is that 8th graders get to hear from students who are currently in those programs, so it makes it a little more real life to hear from students as they're going through these programs. One really awesome thing is that we have our band members and our cheerleaders who are performing for the students as they walk in, so I think that makes them feel really special and welcome into our building.
Thanks guys. We'd also like to thank Mrs. Zipridge for spending some time with Trent Collin for that segment.
Next up, we've got a story from Nate Ballou, Mark Southern, and Caden Foster talking about stocks and different ways you can use them.
I think the stock market would be something great for students to invest in. What we have to understand about the stock market, it's not something that we really probably want to invest in short term. Long-term growth in the stock market is roughly around 10%. So it's a great way to take some money, take a little bit of gamble, and who knows, you know, your dollars could turn into big dollars someday. I think anytime you have a steady flow of income, you know, after you get a job, you know, save the money, but then, you know, like you could also take, 5-10% or something as a high school student and invest that. And there's a couple of apps that students would be really likely to invest in right now. There's an app called Robinhood. There's also an app called the Cash app, and you can invest money through there, and it's tied to your checking account, so you don't have to set up an alternate account. You just take money straight from your checking account, buy stock for you, and then whenever that stock issues a dividend, you actually make money. There are safer ways to invest. Stocks is more risky, but you also have the potential to make more money from the stock. So it all comes down to how much risk do you want to take. Do you want to take high risk, and then therefore the stock would be something that would be an option for them? If they don't want to do high risk, you know, obviously a bond would be a little bit better.
Thanks, guys.
Now it's time to send it on over to TJ Benoist and Michael Capias to hear about the vaccine clinic that happened earlier this last month.
As you're all probably aware, due to the crazy parking situation, on February 4th and February 25th, there were mass vaccination clinics at the Farmington Civic Center. These clinics were set up all day to vaccinate upwards of 2,300 people. We spoke with Captain Jeremy Eidelman, a public affairs officer with the Missouri Air National Guard, on Wednesday, February 3rd, while the Air National Guard was preparing for the clinic.
So today we're setting up for tomorrow's mass vaccination event. So the Missouri Air National Guard is in a support role, and we're helping the Farmington community to help get vaccinated tomorrow.
All right. So who are the eligible people that are allowed to get vaccinated tomorrow?
So people that are still in 1A and 1B, so typically people over 65 years old, or they have a condition that requires them to get one. So I personally got my vaccine, and I did it to help protect my fellow soldiers and airmen, my family and my community. So I would encourage everybody to get a vaccine. We need to get to the point where we no longer have to wear masks and social distance, and the best way to do that is to make sure that we get enough vaccines out to everybody. Other than the Missouri National Guard, this is what we do. We help to take care of the communities, and we're in a support role tomorrow. We're in a support role 100% of the time, but tomorrow specifically for the mass vaccination event. We are doing this in all 9 regions of Missouri, and with a goal of about 1,800 to 2,000 vaccines per day per region. So we're just happy to be here, and we're happy that we could have partners, local partners like the Farmington Health Department, the Civic Center, and even the high school. So we appreciate you guys making accommodations for us to come through and get people vaccinated.
The following day, February 4th, we went to the Civic Center and were able to speak with Marcia Martin, a local resident who was just vaccinated. She had previously been nervous about the vaccine, but her concerns were calmed from the organization and friendliness of the vaccine clinic.
Were you at all nervous about the vaccine?
Yes.
What helped calm those fears, if anything?
My mother had the shots, and she's doing fine.
What would you like to say to those who had fears similar to yours, to encourage them to maybe get vaccinated?
I think that having the vaccination is going to help us if we would have COVID later on to be a milder case, not as bad. Hopefully that will save some people's lives by having a milder case if they get it. And hopefully the COVID virus can disappear with us having the shots.
We also had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Kirkley, a chief medical officer at Parkland Health Center. He spoke about the day's vaccinations and how they were being stored.
Today we have about 2,300 vaccines we're trying to give out, and the good news is that those same people that get vaccinated today will be scheduled for a follow-up second shot in 3 weeks. So today we're still following what the state guidelines have suggested on who can vaccinate. So we're vaccinating anybody who would be a first responder, anybody who works directly in healthcare, plus those who are over 65 who have medical problems like diabetes, lung disease, kidney disease that would qualify. So the vaccine was brought in and unfrozen, and it's being what we call reconstituted. So it's being put into liquid and brought up to room temperature, and it has to be given within about 5 hours of sitting at room temperature. So far, the process of getting people through the front, getting them registered, and getting them the actual vaccine is probably taking about 8 to 12 minutes.
What do you have to say to those who are maybe nervous or anxious about getting the vaccine?
I would tell them that I understand, and that, specific concerns, I think they should definitely talk to their healthcare provider about questions they might have about the vaccine. I encourage my patients to get the vaccine when it's available to them and they feel most comfortable getting it, which does mean that some people are going to choose to wait, but most people will eventually choose to get this because I think it gives us a chance to go to school again without a mask on, to see our families, to not worry that getting together for the holidays is going to cause an outbreak, and I think we're all looking forward to that. I just want to say that when I see how well this has gone so far, that this gives me hope that our community, if we'll remain, let's say, guarded, patient, continue to wear a mask, continue to separate in the areas that we can, and when the vaccine rates come up, I think we'll see this disease get some control, and maybe we can all look forward to a better second half of the year if we can get there.
Although most of the staff and students are not yet eligible for the vaccine, we would just like to inform everyone that the vaccine is safe. It has gone through rigorous and extreme tests. If you are worried or scared about the vaccine, we encourage you to go to covidvaccine.mo.gov or contact your physician. As of recording, the state of Missouri has given out 1,046,607 total vaccines, including the first and second doses. 11.4% of Missourians have received their first dose, and 5.6% have received their second dose. This has been Michael Gopias and TJ Benoist reporting for BKTV News.
It's almost time to wrap up things here in the studio.
But before we do, Carter Fussmeyer and Garrett Sheets broke down the new Godzilla vs. King Kong trailer.
Let's check it out.
There's been a lot of problems in the world at the moment, divisiveness being one of them. Divisiveness has led to a lot of hatred between people, and today we are here to discuss potentially the most dividing prospect of the modern age.
And folks, it has nothing to do with politics. This argument is dividing the nation as we speak, and today we will navigate the wave of the theories being proposed by this.
We need Kong. The world needs him to stop what's coming. It's Godzilla.
Of course, what you just saw were the hits from the newest trailer, Godzilla vs. King Kong. And frankly, Garrett, I don't know how a nation divided between these two giants can stand once it hits theaters.
You are talking about Black Knight Nation, right?
Oh, of course, man. This is do or die, and when this film drops, which is currently set to be March 31st this year, we will see the fallout here at FHS. But now let's take a look at the result of a poll we sent out asking the question, who wins the fight between Godzilla and King Kong?
Check out this magic trick.
Dude, that was amazing. Alright, so the first question we asked you guys was, who do you think will win in Godzilla versus King Kong? And a lot of you guys said that King Kong will win in the movie, and I gotta say I agree. It looks like Godzilla is behind very far, and a lot of people think either Godzilla could win or that it'll be a draw. What do you think about that?
I mean, hurts my heart to see that Godzilla's not going to take this one, but if you look at statistics from our school, I mean, it's pretty apparent that King Kong wants to win. And for us to say that it's going to be a draw is not too far off from the truth. I mean, from a film standpoint, it would not be a bad idea whatsoever. That way they make more money. But it still sucks to see my good old Godzilla go down in the fire.
Now it's time to talk about our theories. Garrett,
personally,
you go first.
I believe that Godzilla is threatened by Kong's presence, seeing as Kong was on that boat. From the trailer, Godzilla appears to cut through their ships for what looks like no reason. Could it be jealousy or the primal action of survival of the fittest? Anyways, we get a couple of good clips of the beasts fighting each other. Kong lands quite a few hits on Godzilla, who also appears to have his axe in a fight. But in the beginning of the trailer, we see what looks like a Mecha Godzilla. My set theory is that Kong and Zilla will duke it out, and Zilla will reign supreme until the humans release the Mecha Godzilla. Then they'll proceed to fight, and Godzilla will have to protect the humans from a malfunctioning monster.
I think that your theory is pretty good, man. But ultimately, I believe that Kong can't afford to lose in this fight because of mortality. He's essentially a giant, I don't want to say a giant human, he's a giant ape. Obviously, we all know this. But he can die, and there's no coming back. Godzilla can be resurrected. He might have a hidden egg stashed somewhere, where Kong is a giant animal like you and me. He's mostly normal, without powers, and I say mostly normal, you know, as normal as a skyscraper giant gorilla can be. On the other hand, assuming that the filmmakers don't kill either of them, the two will be forced to team up against an outside force like a Mecha Godzilla. If anyone dies, it won't be Kong for sure because he is the last of his kind. So, plus people like an underdog story. And I believe that the underdog story is what will play out on screen come March 31st in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Well, It looks like we're out of time, folks. However, an extended edition of this chit chat will be released on BKTV YouTube channel in the near future, so keep an eye out for that.
Jackson, who do you think is gonna win?
I'm gonna go with Godzilla on this one.
Yeah, definitely not.
Well, either way, it's time to wrap things up.
We would like to thank everybody who watched this and had a hand and helped make this episode. I'm Maggie Killian.
And I'm Jackson Umfleet, and we'll see you on the next episode of BKTV News.